Okay.
All right, good evening. This is the historic, I can't see anything. The historic commission meeting, historical commission meeting on May 11th. The time is now calling this meeting to order. For voting purposes, we'll still go through one by one. So just say here when I call your name, Patterson. Here. Pam? I'm here. Bill?
Here.
Ralph?
Here.
And tonight we have Gail Seaver sitting with us. Salvi. Sorry. So we're called to order. Let's stand and do the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. It's pretty awesome to be in a building, huh, instead of in squares.
I agree.
All right, first thing on the agenda are the secretary's minutes from April 13th. Did everyone have a chance to read them? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
I make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes of April 13th, 2021.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait a minute, Pat? Olson?
Aye.
Pam?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
Rafa?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Now I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of April 13th, 2021.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Oh, we just read them, yeah, okay. There's a second,
I second.
any discussion? We'll take a vote, Rafa,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and Pat is an aye. Okay, thank you, that's done. The Community Preservation Committee. I just want to say that they've been so very cooperative with us in getting our article onto the town warrant. It's on the town warrant for the June 7th meeting. They asked if I would be there to speak to it if needed, and I said, yes, of course. So that's where we're at. I did see a draft of the town warrant, and it is there, truly there. So at this point, if we all could just plan on attending to support that project, that would be great. Bill, do you have anything else to add from the Community Preservation Committee?
Relevant to our commission here, there was, no, I mean, there's nothing.
Okay,
Unless you want to hear some of the other business that was conducted.
would you? Yes, they would.
Okay, it wasn't really that busy in the meeting. Well, we went over the finances, which is typical. And let's see, that bike path thing, I don't know if you're familiar with that application. Officially, they're kind of put into no man's land.
Okay,
And they want to buy their own Zoom, the CTC.
Oh.
And they certainly have plenty of money.
yeah,
So, but I think there's some resistance somewhere of someone, and but they don't care because they're an autonomous group anyway.
okay.
So, what else? That's pretty much it. There was no applications to review or anything, so.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Under unfinished business, the Boston Post King. Pat, did we ever hear from?
I did not.
Okay, so are we going to move on to the next candidate, Mr. Welch?
I see we do. Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion that we contact, that our Boston Post King committee contact Joseph Welch as our next candidate for as a recipient of the Boston Post King.
I make a motion that we contact Mr. Welch as our next recipient for the Boston Post King.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? How old is Mr. Welch?
I don't know.
90 something?
Oh, 90 something.
Yeah. He's very talented.
We can check.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Would you be contacting him?
I can contact Bill if you want.
His son.
Yep. All right. We need a vote. Rafa?
Aye.
Pat?
Hi.
Dan? Bill?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Okay. I'll contact Bill and we'll go from there. All right, the plaque and cane display. Bristol Aggie has agreed to give the town the display cases, and this was discussed at a Board of Selectmen's meeting. They were talking about putting the cane in there and Anderson's Medal of Honor to go in there, and that it was going to be permanent to the wall. When we talked about it, they said it would be up there, but not permanently, like we could take it down occasionally, you know, to change things, but I'm not sure how that's going on. So we talked about putting the plaque in there with the Boston Post King, but we have to have accessibility to the plaque if we're going to be adding names to it. So in thinking about it, I'd like to arrange another meeting with Tom and Jim and also include the Historical Society because some of their items would be going in. So if they're going to be permanently in there, do they want them in there? I just think it would be best if we were all sit down at the same time, because I know they discussed it at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, and that's the last I heard.
Mrs. Barbosa's family contacted Pam,
Yeah,
and Pam just said that the plan was, this was a few weeks back, the plan
Yeah.
was sometime in May to have a ceremony, and is it a 10 people limit on how many people can be in the building?
last I knew it was 13, I'm not sure what it is now.
Okay, so she had 4
She had 4.
that she would like to bring. But the point is, Pam just, because we don't know a date, so Pam just said sometime in May. So do we
Right.
contact them and say, it looks like sometime in June now, you know?
They're flexible, but,
Yeah, we don't want to jerk them around.
no.
I mean, we could do it anytime in May, intro of the plaque and the cane and everything, it just won't be, I don't know what the status of the cabinet is.
I have a question about the cabinet. The last time that we had talked, Pat, we were going to have access to change these displays. We had talked about,
That's what I'm not sure about, because when I listened to the selectmen's meeting, they were, this is gonna be permanent, if that Medal of Honor is going in there, I imagine they're not,
I mean, that's no fun.
Does it lock? This
Right, so we would have to open it, you know, I mean, okay, we keep the key secret, and we open it twice. Because
I
this,
don't know if it locks or not, I don't know if there's access, if it's in the back or whatever. So, I don't know, you know, I certainly can pursue it with, you know, Jim and Tom, or we can have a meeting all together, whatever your pleasure is.
is there a way that maybe we can go and test drive the case?
I don't know.
Like, no, seriously, if I call, if there's a name of somebody at Aggie,
I don't
I'm
know.
happy to go down there and say, okay, here's the measurements and where's the key, like perhaps the key's missing, or
I don't know.
that's, what, you know, just, and then we know that.
I'll see if I can find out some more information. If we have to, the Boston Post King Committee can meet and figure out, you know, especially for the Boston Post King and the plaque, what's gonna happen with it and what that case actually looks like. I'll get a more accurate description, because we had pictures of it and like everything's gonna fit in and it'd be up on the wall, you know, but it's not written, it's not clear enough to me.
And weren't we told at the time that it was going to go between
It's gonna
those
go
two
there.
doorways
Yeah,
because the thermostat was being moved? Remember that
Okay.
story?
yeah,
So obviously nobody's removed the thermostat, so.
right. All right, let me see what I actually.
It doesn't make much sense to bring the case if we just have to stick it in a random corner and then have to move it, right?
Yeah, and like
Again.
Pat said, do we need the case to make the presentation to Mrs. Barbosa's family?
I don't think so, as long as we have the plaque,
With her name on it.
oh, yep, her name's on it,
Yep.
and, the flowers are easy enough.
Right,
So, we have a sample certificate that you had forwarded
okay,
us. I don't know how closely we want to, stick to that,
I would leave
it's
that to
fine.
your discretion as the committee for the Boston Post came.
Well, didn't the selectmen do something?
Oh, they were gonna do something too, yes.
No, didn't they fill out some sort of,
Yeah, but, and they said Ken was gonna follow up with that.
okay,
Um,
so we give them that, we give them flowers, we have the Taunton Gazette come.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we don't really need the case,
No.
And we could do it in May, because we told them we'd do it in May.
All right. Also, the selectmen, they meet tomorrow night. And then I think they meet the 26th. So we'll probably address it at the 26th, the proclamation,
Okay,
so we can do it after that.
okay.
Okay.
So,
And
just
I'll-
to be,
I'll
I'm sorry, just to
follow
be
up with the
clear,
case
we're looking at June now, is that?
for the case, yeah. But if,
Because
well, yeah, it would be
selectmen's
June.
meeting, if that's the
Yeah.
26th, that
Yeah.
is,
What day of the week is that? you know?
That's a Wednesday.
and then it's Memorial Day and,
Maybe the beginning of June.
yeah, because that weekend is a top weekend. that won't work.
Okay,
So
so if you.
we're gonna be
talk to them,
June-ish.
Say because of Memorial Day, I mean,
Yep.
I'm sure they'd understand that. That we're pushed out to June.
Yep, there you go.
Okay,
Okay, I'll get in touch with Mrs. Barbosa's daughter.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, anything else on the Boston Post game? Great, good. The community garden, Pam and I walked the James Brady's property with the garden planners. Tom Ferry was there, Ken Pacheco, and Jonathan Gale, and Jenna, and what was the other woman's name? Tanya, yes. And this is a Boy Scout project. The garden's gonna be in the back of the property. And it will be fenced. It will consist of 8 raised beds and 2 mounded beds. The fence will have a gate and a lock on it. The produce that they're raising is going to be for the food bank for prime time and Lincoln Village. So there was a lot of discussion about accessibility. Because John Romeo was from the committee for disabilities. And about, the signage, what kind of sign that we wanted. Jenna and Tanya plan to have the garden be as natural as possible, like with a rustic feel. And they suggested that the sign include facts about James Briggs, the house, kind of like telling a little bit of a story. They really don't want the history of that piece of property to be forgotten just because it's a garden. And they suggested about 3 feet in size, something historical looking. Tom Ferry suggested talking with BP, because they have made some other signs for the town. And we do have some time to look into this because they're going to begin building those gardens over there in the fall for ready for planting in February of 2022. So it's going to take some time to get it up and running. It sounds like a huge, really cool project for the Boy Scouts, kind of a continuing project for them to do. So I know Pam and Pat and after you had agreed to work on some research on plaques and signs, so whatever You can do whatever you think.
Oh, Pat, can I mention something on that? I apologize for not attending the garden thing on Monday. I planned to, but then, believe it or not, it happens once in a while. I got the day wrong. For some reason, I didn't put it in my phone, and I said, oh, I gotta remember this. So, remember it was at 6 o'clock. And I, for some reason, I had it in my mind that it was Tuesday instead of Monday.
Oh,
So I showed up at 6 Tuesday.
how
I go, where is everybody?
They had your own private tour.
Did you have a quorum though? I mean, did,
No, I took notes, but,
okay,
they even talked about the koi pond possibly in the future. They talked about getting some of the elderly folks from Lincoln Village to help out. John, from ADA had talked about, the difficulty if we keep those stones from the foundation of being, folks with disabilities, wheelchairs. Ken Arujo did the okay that those seedlings can be started in his greenhouse in February. Yes, organic, Eco Scout, the mounded beds are going to measure like 8 by 4. And the mounding beds are approximately 20 by 10. But there was some concern because as we looked over the dip from the parking lot, it kind of measures a foot down because the gardens are way in the back.
right.
And the reason for that is they don't want to have any encumbrance if the library does indeed end up going, in front of the property. So that was their reasoning for putting it way in the back. So then we opened a concern about the accessibility for the people that do require canes, wheelchairs. So I think we've got a plan, but it has to remain fluid.
Right.
But it is, I agree, it's a pretty big undertaking.
It is.
So,
Was there a mention of water irrigation system?
there was that they think there's a hookup there already.
Yeah.
So then, Rafa, it means it's obviously gotta be, extended way down because it's rough land where we walked. I would probably best describe it as bramble, right? Is that the correct word? It's been, cut, but you could tread.
Right.
The roots are visible and the rocks. So yes, Rafa, that has to be addressed and it could mean extending. I asked about funding and it didn't appear that there are any specific funding plans to get behind to get this done.
If there's no water, it's not ready to grow.
They were concerned about that, yeah, because there was a hookup, and it was gonna go down the other side, away from the stone wall closest to town hall, so, they seem to think it would work, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I agree, Rafa, the irrigation. And then, as we already know, we're already under folks with regular town water, are already under a water watch.
Or
So,
they can install rain barrels.
I have a rain barrel in my house, yeah.
Yeah. So I think as they go along, those are the kind of things that they will incorporate, they're both of them are very organic minded and keep it natural as much as they can.
I just have one comment on this particular topic. If they're gonna spend a lot of time and energy and money creating this garden and greenhouse and all that,
There's no greenhouse.
huh?
No greenhouse.
Oh,
No, the seedlings will be started in the Arujo's greenhouse.
oh.
So that's just temporary. The students and the young people will come in, start the seedlings. Darlene and Ken have agreed, we let them have access it sometime to get in there.
Okay.
And then in the spring of 2022, the students will come in and transplant those seedlings. So no, the greenhouse will just be temporary.
What about, are they gonna do this gardening by hand, or are they gonna have some equipment that they need to purchase? Or-
I don't
Yeah,
know. We didn't get, I don't know.
Yeah.
Raised beds, you have to do it by hand. You're not gonna get a tractor if you're talking
Because the
raised
beds
beds.
are going to be up.
Yeah.
So that when you go to the garden, some of the elderly or the Boy Scouts go, or a handicapped person in a wheelchair can fit, you're standing to do it. And there'll be some on the ground, but everyone will have access to some point in the garden. So really, they're probably gonna be more in the height of, there's a garden near Prime Time's door here that's raised about table height.
just one more thing, there was a primary focus on that property for a library, a Lutheran library. If that were to occur, in other words, if everything lined up for the library at some point in future time, would there be an issue of losing the garden? I mean, would there be?
No, that's why they have moved it to the back piece of the property.
Okay.
They have planned it for the back piece right along. It's like 6 feet away from the back border, so that if there's whatever is gonna go on the front part of the property wouldn't interfere with the garden or so.
There's just one issue though, I looked up for that property, the acreage.
Yeah.
It's only about an acre.
It's about an acre. Yes, the line ends, it's marked now. I always thought it went further back myself, but it is an acre, yeah. All right. Anything else? So my committee will continue with do some research on plaques and signage for the James Bridge. Yes, okay. All right, our walking tour project. So I've been working on the families that lived in the Wharf District. In fact, did you see my email I sent you last night? Did you get it? No? Oh, no. We got lost in
You
cyberspace.
sent me one last night.
Oh, I thought, yeah, maybe I'm not, it said.
It's a draft. Check the
Sorry.
draft- check the draft folder.
Check my draft folder. Anyway, never mind.
So it's your draft?
I probably left, I don't know, it was late.
If you don't look close enough, sometimes when it's late and I don't have my glasses, I just send it to the wrong person and then this random
I was
person.
like, what happened?
I think you meant this, so.
Well, anyway, I've been working on the families that live in the houses in the Wharf District up Pleasant Street in our National Historic District down there. Really fascinating. I spent hours going, oh my, this is so interesting. But anyway, I've identified, the people that live in the houses, and I'm making up a fact sheet for each one. Some of the stuff has to be verified. I have found family trees for these people online. Because at first I was like reinventing them, because that's what I like to do. And I'm like, oh, let me see if somebody else has already done this. And there they are. They're gorgeous. They're full. Some of them are documented. Some of them are not. So Pat, since you're my partner in this, I thought maybe we should.
I did get your email. It was after I was done with my emails for yesterday. So I see it here. I do see it here now.
Okay. I had some thoughts. I don't know. We're planning a walking tour for those districts. One of my questions to Pat was, do we need to do we just tour? Do we need to ask the homeowners?
I wouldn't think, no, because you're not asking the homeowners to be home. You're not asking them for a tour. That'd be nice, but you're not asking them
I
for
know,
a tour.
yeah, okay. I don't know if we need if we can take a group, then that would be fine. If there's
Might need to notify the police.
all right, I'll find out what we need to do. Okay.
Yeah, so we don't look like solar panel salespeople or something.
Yeah.
Or peddling religion or something, yeah.
Yeah.
It might be a good idea.
Well, maybe we should invest in wearing our vests and advertise
It wouldn't be fun if we had T-shirts saying it's
Yeah.
historical.
And they'd say, oh, you are historical.
Follow the red umbrella.
So there's a lot you can do with that.
Mhm.
So, after that, and so we can pick a date, Pat, and you and I can start working.
That would be good.
Together on that. And we'll go from there. Okay. Before we leave tonight, we'll pick a date.
Sure.
Okay, great. I think it's a really exciting thing. you know. Yeah. The house marker program, our historical house marker program. Just a reminder, Saturday, May 22nd, at 11 a.m. is the historical house marker ceremony at the Historical Society on William Street. I did contact Liz Blackwell, who donated the house marker to the society, and she will be there. So I was thinking about our house marker program, and Rafa, if you would love to draft a letter to the owners of the houses in the National Register District, I think that would be a good place to start.
Draft the letter.
Yes, informing them about our markers, and if it, since their house is in a historical district, how appropriate would be, and perhaps we can include the application in the letter, a little packet.
A group picture of all the wearing masks.
So if you want to draft a letter, and you can just bring it for the next meeting. Okay.
Oh, can I just mention one thing? I should have mentioned it during the CPC thing, but Mr. Rhymes is the man that typically writes up the warrant pieces. And probably at this next CPC, I should follow up and see where that is, right? Where that project is.
What the warrant article is?
What?
Where our warrant article is?
No, you know how that CPC for the grant money
Yeah,
has to be written up for
it
the.
is.
Is it been done yet?
Yes,
Oh, I must have missed that.
they did. It's on the warrant.
I mean, I never got a copy of it from anybody before.
Where did I see the draft online?
Okay. And have you looked at it and reviewed it? And
Yes.
you're happy with it? Okay.
And they had the legal, look at it, Jim wrote it up, had it checked out, it's on.
Okay.
All right, well, I put public input in case we had anyone that joined us. I haven't seen anyone join us either. Okay. So no one has any public input. Good. Moving on. New business, we're going to discuss the volunteer application at Gail Salve. Did I say that right? So, so Gail, if you would like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your reason for volunteering for the Historical Commission.
Sure. Hello, thank you all for the opportunity to meet you all. My name is Gail Salve. I've been a resident of Dayton for 21 years. I've always had an interest in history, particularly New England history. I have been employed by Bristol Community College for 20 years and currently work in the Enrollment Center on the Attleboro campus. Some of the background, although I don't have a particular background with a historical committee, I am a staff senate member at the college, and I do work with the global food market, and was successful in bringing that to the Attleboro campus. So I do have some volunteer experience under my belt. So I really want to, I have a very big interest in serving my town. And as I said, I have an interest in history, and particularly Dayton and New England history. And I'd like the opportunity to become a member of the Historical Commission to further my background in Dayton history and to serve Dayton. Building preservation is also very important to me. I've been very dismayed and heartbroken with seeing a lot of historical buildings being demolished. And I'd like to see what I can do maybe to, as a town and as a community, to rehab and preserve historical buildings. And again, although I don't have experience serving on a historical commission, I do have a desire to learn and would love the chance to honor and preserve my history.
Does anyone have any questions for Gail? Kind of answered the ones that I had, and you're not alone in a desire to, learn more about the history or to help, protect some of the things. I think that's what kind of drives a lot of us here. So, no questions?
Did you want to explain to Gail how it sort of works, that the board, you come to the board meeting, we meet you, and then how it works, we have to make a recommendation to the selectmen, and it's the selectmen who actually appoint you.
Right.
We don't appoint you. Just so she knows it's a time kind of thing.
Yes, so after tonight, we would make a recommendation. It's too late for their meeting tomorrow, they wouldn't make their agenda, but it would be on the 26th, May 26th meeting.
And then someone from the town hall would contact her.
Right. And then you have to get sworn in before you could, by the town clerk, before you could vote on the commission. A little process, but yeah.
Do you have an amicable relationship with any of the boards?
I do have the Leonard Hall.
Okay.
So, I worked with him through the election. And he has kind of sparked my desire to get more involved with the town as well.
Okay. The commission is an advisory board, so we can make recommendations or as to what the historical preservation should be, what's important for the history. We're not really a decision-making board as far as, they do things that promote history, but like for the buildings and stuff like that, when we're an advisory.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, like how in depth you get with the drafting the bylaws, the ordinances, or anything like that. You guys get involved with that, trying to.
As
Not
far as
bylaws
historic, yes,
Yeah.
yes. We have a demolition delay bylaw that the historical commission worked very hard on getting in, because it is a tool for the commission to use. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll entertain, does anyone have any other thoughts? I'll entertain a motion, to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that Gail Salovey be appointed to the Dayton Historical Commission.
I second the motion.
You have to make the motion.
Yeah, to make it, she's just entertaining.
I would like to make the motion for the Dayton Historical Commission to recommend Gail Sally's application as member of the commission.
I will second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. Bill? Dan? Aye. Aye. Rafa?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. Okay. Welcome. We look forward to working with you. Okay, I just looked at my agenda and realized I skipped over one thing, so we'll just backtrack a little. Survey and planning grant. I finally heard from the Mass Historical Commission that the local project coordinators will have a training session. There'll be a Zoom meeting at the end of May. They weren't sure what date yet. And Mike Mullen, the town administrator, will be attending. Rafa as the vice chair, and I will be attending. This training works with, talks about the contract that we have to make with the Mass Historical Commission, the consultant procurement procedures, the schedule and the reporting requirements, and the responsibilities of the local project coordinator, which is me, because when we put the application in, we did not have a town administrator at that point in time. But Mike is going to work very closely with me or I'm gonna work very closely with him, I should say, to get this done correctly. And Rap is coming on board, so that a second pair of ears will know what's going on.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Great job on that application.
And also the press release for the grant is out there and has been released, so the word is out. Okay. Next is, to discuss the initial notification for the demolition of 593 William Street. I did share the email with you that I got from him, the building commissioner, that he's got the initial notification for 593 William Street, has started the utility disconnections in preparation for the demolition of the building. As you know from the email, the home was damaged by a very large tree during a previous storm. At that time, the owner temporarily repaired the home, but apparently decided not to permanently repair and demo instead. With the date of 1900 on the property card, its exact age cannot be determined by using town records. So with this email, he is asking the commission to make a determination if this structure will be subject to the delay bylaw. So the question is it subject to the delay bylaw? I drove by it today. It's Quackenbush's old house.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's next door to Kenny Gamora's house.
Yeah, it's at the top of Maple Street. So, anyway, the question is it subject to the delay bylaw? So I started doing a little research, and it's not listed on Macris. However, across the street is nearby is Charles Marble Farm, which is listed on Macris at 1616 William Street. I was trying to see if the land was once upon a time part of the dairy farm, the Marble Farm that's there. There was a farm that operated from 1880 to 1942 as the Milk Dairy Farm. The house, the 593 William Street, is not on the 1871 map of Dayton. I checked at the Historical Society. I couldn't find any information there for the house at all. I called Myrna, the town historian, and she didn't know anything either. She did say she would call me back by 6:30 tonight, but if she could find anything, but I did not hear from her. So,
May I just, what was the address of Charles Marble Farm or?
616. And then I checked the acreage because on the mattress form for the Marble Farm, it said it's like 1.38, 1.3. Wait a minute, I got it. I have it. Was 1.13 acres. So I checked on Zillow to see what their acreage was on it for that piece of property. And it did in square feet. It was like 47,480 square feet, which is a little over an acre. So even, originally I don't think that piece of property was even a farm. If it was, the house wasn't there anyway. So
Originally, that property had more land. They have since divided the land off.
the Marble House,
No,
so
this house.
this house had more land.
Yes, it did.
Ooh.
And it was recently purchased with a very small amount of land, but initially it was like 6 or 7 acres.
Okay. Do you know of any historical significance to that house?
No, and I don't feel that we should invoke the 6-month delay for its demolition.
Right. I couldn't find anything that supported significant historical on it. Huh?
Outside of the.
Okay. So I think we should have, a vote. I'll entertain a motion that to, let me see how I want to word this. That 593 William Street does not have historical significance. How do we want to word this? Help me, friends.
You don't care about this house, do you?
No.
Let's not use you, Rafa.
It's ugly. I mean, it's like, obviously, you like
It was
it.
Yeah, but it's a farmhouse. It's a farmhouse. Hollywood.
So no historical significance there. Okay.
So I'll just play off of what Hal said over here. I mean, I'll make a motion that we not invoke the 6-month delay at 593 Williams Base, that it doesn't appear to have historical significance, and Rafa, we don't care. Yes.
I would
We
second
will
that.
not invoke the 6-month.
We will not invoke the 6-month delay based on 593 does not appear after you did extensive research, Pat, and it appears that it does not have historical significance. So I make a motion that we not invoke.
We want to say appears.
Well, you've done extensive, I would say it based on your research, no.
Okay, let's say based on the research. Five 93 William Street is not historically significant, right?
Did you second?
And it will not be subject to the,
6-month delay.
okay,
And I seconded it.
okay. All right, any further discussion? No, Bill,
Aye.
Pam?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Rafa?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. All right, thank you.
So will you send a letter to Jim Agia?
I will send a letter to Jim Aguirre, telling him that. Yes. All right. Now, one other thing that I have. Of the correspondence, I got an email from Leanne Kerwin in the Board of Selectmen's office, forwarding a letter from Kevin Smith Jr., the chairman of the Parks and Rec Department. And he says, "Good evening, everyone. The Parks and Rec Department has voted to pursue a summer event tentatively planned for the afternoon Saturday, July 10th, time to be determined, at the Spratt Field, pending all of their permit application and approval. They will be booking several children-themed performers and have simple games for the kids to play. But the major focus is a community outreach opportunity for our various volunteer commissions and committees in town. In joining several meetings in recent history and from information gathered through social media, it is a general consensus that most of our citizens of town are not aware that these committees and commissions even exist. So this would be a wonderful opportunity for those groups to sit at the table and talk to citizens about their mission statements. I've also reached out to the fire and police departments to get them involved. I also plan to invite local nonprofits like the Dayton Lions, under the library, flags, etc., to give them an opportunity to fundraise as well. I do have contact information for many of the committees and commissions, but I would ask the Board of Selectmen to pass this information on to the boards they are liaisons for, as this would be extremely helpful in reaching all groups. I've also attached an intake form for the groups to fill out so I can have their contact information for correspondence as we move forward, and also for planning the setup of the event. Thank you for your time. If you have any input, suggestions, or any other groups you think might be interested in participating, please feel free to pass the form along to them as well. Thank you, Kevin Smith, Jr., Chairman of Brighton Parks and Recreation. So, the date is July 10th. Are we interested in participating?
Why not?
That's what I thought. Why
Yeah,
not?
why not? We don't have anything to lose.
No, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to promote history, promote the commission and our work, our house marker program, and all the other great things that we're working on. So, all right, I'll entertain a motion to join the July 10th, what do you call it? Summer event, concert, summer concert and community program.
I make a motion that members of the Historical Commission attend the July 10th event for the summer concert. And we provide community outreach opportunity and information on our commission, including the house marker.
Is there a second?
One second.
All right, we'll have any discussion.
Will the house marker be going on the house on the 22nd?
Yes, it'll be, yes.
So we couldn't bring it?
No, it'll be on the house, yeah.
You can take a picture.
We'll take a
Just put it in
picture.
a frame.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Like, have like poster kind of, because I'm saying, what are we gonna have on our table to
Yeah,
make
that's
it
what I'm
attractive?
thinking. We need
Something.
we had talked about that pamphlet, that,
That ain't gonna be
exactly what that was gonna be, yeah. So I don't,
Do we have that maybe in?
I really would like t-shirts. I was kind of being facetious before, but I just a little, you know.
I think it'll be a good time, you know, make a picture of that. Even, promote the,
You know, like a table, a drapery, and, yeah, I guess we can
do it.
think about,
Do you want t-shirts for the people on the committee?
I'd like us to have
We can do
t-shirts,
that.
because now that we're getting formal between walking tours and, you know, if we have 2 or 3 of us attending, I just like t-shirts. It's just a moving advertisement, and maybe as we go about the town, paying taxes, whatever, attending kids softball, it's just another way to promote our group. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, color, design, seal, whatever, that's all up for, but we have the budget. That's my point. We have the money.
Maybe send t-shirts for the commission members.
Yeah, why not? You know, make something nice of the, you know, the polo. Like wear them on when we do the Memorial Day things and the different parades.
All right, hold that thought. Can we have a vote to attend the July 10th meeting? We have a motion and a second.
Second.
You second, here we have, okay. All in favor, Bill? Dan?
Aye.
Pat? Aye. Rafa? And Pat's aye, okay.
I think we just had a double second, right? You seconded it and then Rafa did? Okay, so it's a tie.
2 seconds are better than no.
I agree.
All right, so, I will check on if that's feasible for, I don't know, you know, with the town accountant, make sure that is a project. If you want to check on, see if there's like cost. how much it would cost.
Absolutely. Even our friend at JC Trophy, Pat and I
Yeah.
He does t-shirts, he does the farmer's market bags, there's,
All right.
you know, it's too bad, maybe if we do this again in the future, we have a bag that we can give out that does have those pamphlets, you know, just whatever, pens, I don't know.
Yeah, you wanna come up, Len?
Could we give out pens?
That would be something that I
I
think.
love giving out, I mean, I go to these job fairs and career fairs all the time, and I even host the table for Fred TV at Durfee, and we give out goodies. You call it just dusting the tables.
I will check on, oh, yes, that's right,
Go.
but we will check.
Okay.
All right,
You wouldn't want to give out historical commission masks, would you? Maybe by then we won't need them, and they'll be obsolete.
Sure, seriously.
What did they use for masks in 1918?
Oh, I've seen them.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
them.
Yeah, I just read, it's called Orphan Maker. I don't remember the author, but I love reading historical fiction, and it does describe the 1918. But then I did a little research on when the book was published, and it was published, I think 2020. So this was already coming to be. And I read about the book. It was in Mary Jane's as a recommendation, the magazine that Pat shares with me as well. So
Mary Jane's Farm, if anyone wants to look at a copy, they're excellent.
they're fun, just recipes,
Comes out monthly,
history.
it's called Mary Jane's Farm, and it's very about country life.
And I love the book reviews. So anyway, I picked this, coincidentally I read about it, found it at a yard sale, or maybe Savers, and picked it up. So maybe we get masks, Rafa.
So what else could we have at that table?
Well, so, I mean, we could have an example of the plaque for Mrs.
Well, he's
Barbosa,
gonna have
other
another-
historians.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and the house marker.
Yep.
I'm thinking, you know, my Thanksgiving table is one of the folders, maybe it takes off a couple feet, and we could certainly get something like white muslin just to make nice, maybe a, you know, a red, white, and blue banner, since it is on the 10th, right? So it's close enough. Yeah, the time does pass quickly. though,
so we have one meeting before then.
Yeah.
Bring ideas, thoughts to the June meeting. Our June meeting is June 8th. So,
Well, it would have to like be finalized
Yeah.
by that, because you gotta give them a chance to make these things.
Yeah, we've got to have the okay
all right.
to
so-
spend the t-shirts, the
Right.
pens, the
Right.
muslin, or whatever we decide, bunting, I don't know. And that has to come from accountant?
I'll check and see, yeah, how we go about doing that. We want pens or t-shirts, pens and t-shirts, right?
I mean, I say if the money's in our budget and it falls under the category of what we could spend money on, let's
That's
spend
not
it.
true, because we could have spent money on those house markers, and we were
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
down to
so
that,
you
so
gotta
no,
go-
we can't.
I mean, if we were able to, those house markers, I still feel would have really, you know, but the fact that the folks that apply now, that definitely impedes the people who want to go forward with the application. So, yeah.
All right, so
Who
I will
knows?
find out, we can have a committee, let's have a committee for July 10th. We have lots of committees.
I would do, as you suggested, get in touch with Paul over at JC Trophy and see if, t-shirts, pens, any other ideas on people that do screen printing locally? I know the BP kids do. Do we want to try to keep it local? I'm open to any ideas that people,
There could be someone that the town has used already, so there might be someone
Okay.
locally, so let me ask, I'll ask Tom,
What other kinds of things, when you say dust the table, what other kinds of things do they give?
Well, there's all kinds of things. Some of it though is not, I want to keep it applicable to us. So we don't want to give out like those rubber wristbands. We don't want to give out like plastic water bottles.
Go back to the rubber wristbands. Why don't we want to give them?
Well, because they're not historical.
It says Dayton Historic Commission on it.
Yeah, but they didn't have that back in.
Wait, okay, I love Dayton. Duh. Put an I, put a heart, Dayton, so it's a Dayton thing, and you're giving it out.
What about like replicas of like ceramic and pots that the Indians use? I'm
Sounds
sorry,
pricey.
Native American.
Sounds pricey, Rafa, but other things. Okay, those squishy balls for stress. Everybody always has candy, but we got to think about meltage. Everybody always has candy, but I don't know. Do we do like I'm thinking of old-fashioned cough drops, but then you got people grabbing one because they're not individually wrapped. So maybe that won't work.
What about ashtrays for people who smoke?
Oh my God, nobody does ashtrays anymore.
There's Indian smoke roll. Isn't there? Like pipe tobacco?
Not with an ashtray.
No,
Or whatever.
Here, can you make a list? You.
I will. I will. I'll look into it.
You know
But
what?
That's cute.
look, the next time I dust the table,
Yes,
I am gonna get you those plastic, you know, I mean,
yeah, but
there's.
I wanted to say something nice, I don't want to say something stupid.
Okay, when we get in my car, I have one that says I love frogs and save the bees.
Oh,
And
thank
here,
I'm sorry.
back to topic here. All right, so we'll have a picture of the historical marker. We can have some information on our historical districts, that they exist. We'll put something short and sweet together about that. Maybe even, we have a picture of the Boston House, King plaque. So people can see that. It'll be pictures, rather than the objects.
There'll be pictures like on a poster board or something,
Yeah.
so you can put something at your table and they can look at it.
Yeah.
Are there any publications that either Historical Society has, or in other words,
The Historical Society will be invited to go, and I talked with Chris today, and so they would probably be planning. So whatever they would have would be up to them to decide.
but like, for instance, the Old Colony Society in Taunton has just, a small number of, even some of the smallest pamphlets about various things, about, historical. Is there anything, could we put on our table something like that, if there's anything available?
But pamphlets,
What?
there are really no existing pamphlets for the history of Dayton.
Remember the ones the Historical Society gave out?
The cards.
Yeah, the cards, they're really nice, they have a picture on them, and they were, one was for the house, the
One was for
museum.
house, Strawberries, the church. Three
Are
or
you
four.
talking about that map that
No. I'm
I
talking about
actually have
cards.
mine framed.
Did you?
It's
Yeah.
a card.
It's a
It
nice
was,
card.
I think, the 300th anniversrsary. Does that sound right?
No, this is something the Historical Society did.
Now, we handed them out with each of the events that we had in, what was it, for the 250th anniversary of the house. I believe that's what it was. That was one card. Another card we handed out about the community church at the tea, was that tea?
Yep.
At
With
the
Eleanor
Strawberry
Roosevelt.
Festival, they handed out cards about the strawberries, the history of strawberries in Dayton. That's a historical society project.
Right.
Those cards are theirs. So if they were gonna hand them out, it would be up to them to do that.
Okay, it's not our project, but how about that Anderson, that nice thing we were given when we went?
That's the towns, yes.
So are they gonna have a table set up that would be included in?
I don't know, I can talk to
But if
them.
not, we could put them at our table.
Yeah, I'll talk to Leanne.
Do you mean, are there some left over?
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful.
It was a beautiful card, very well done, really, really nice. So hand those out to people.
I'll check with Leanne,
Good.
because she's the one that's gonna work on that in the office, so, okay. Right, we're on a roll, good. Anything else? I think we're good then. All right, so we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
And we'll vote. Rafa,
Yes.
Pat,
Hi.
Pam, aye. Bill, and I also an aye. And thank you.
Thank you, Gail.